Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap. My name is Anthony Gentry, and joining me today,
Austin Jameson, hello again.
After a 11-minute delay.
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties.
But you only know that if you're watching live. If you're not, you're like, what are they talking about?
Yes.
Anyway, we don't have a lot of things to talk about today.
Yeah.
We are going to review the new Ryan Reynolds movie, The Adam Project.
Yeah, Netflix exclusive.
Yeah, Sean Levy, who they worked on Free Guy together.
Yeah.
And I hear that's one of your favorites, Austin.
Listen, it's not bad. I had very high expectations.
Yeah.
I had artificially inflated expectations. And I don't know. I shot too high, and it did not land for me. It was okay, but it was like in the departments that I was expecting it to be very strong, it was very weak.
Fair enough.
Objectively good movie, but also I had like some cool moments at the end spoiled for me.
That whole last fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of after not. I don't know. I should have not listened to people and just watched it. But
yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
I mean,
that's
I can see where you're coming from. We do have a few trailers to talk about.
Kind of niche ones.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because I
Mhm.
didn't think any trailers came out.
Yeah, you
until
think we'd
I
have
looked
enough,
up
like
the
last
word.
week.
Yeah, oh my god, we had so many last week. But I just looked up the word trailer on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I
And
did.
I found 3.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to talk about. Do you want to talk about The Offer or the Crawdad trailer?
Let's do Offer.
Offer?
Or let's do Crawdad. I feel like
Crawdad?
that's probably one of the most
What is that full trailer?
or what are you asking?
It's
what
Where
is-
the Crawdads Sing.
Oh, the full title.
Yes.
Yes.
So this comes out July 15th.
Mhm.
It looks like it's about a woman who was framed for murder,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone thinks she's crazy or something.
Excuse
And
me.
she's just on the run.
I couldn't really tell. It looked weirder.
Yeah.
It seemed like she was abandoned as a child in a river, and she began to live in the river until people found her, and then she was reacclimated into
that's it.
society. And then at some point, somebody close to her dies, and everybody's like, "It's the river lady."
Yeah, it looked like it was a guy who was interested in her, but she got with someone else.
Yeah.
So then that guy killed her current boyfriend.
Maybe that's not
That's
just speculation.
What I thought from the trailer. Who knows?
Yeah.
It looks interesting at the very least.
Yeah.
It looks well shot.
It's odd for sure. It's especially the title alone, Where the Crawdads Sing.
Yeah.
Not really something that reaches out to at least me, but maybe it looks like it takes place in a Louisiana kind of setting.
Yeah, I think it does look interesting to me.
Mhm.
I'm at least interested to see how this movie is.
Oh.
Probably see it based on reviews.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so that was Where the Crawdads Sing. Comes out later this year.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll review
Probably
it.
not. We're not gonna take
No.
time out of the summer to do that.
Yeah. The other trailer we have is called The Offer.
Yes.
This is a TV show coming, I think, in April.
That sounds right.
And
I think it's
it
April
is-
28th.
Yeah. And it's about the making of The Godfather.
Yeah.
And at first, when I heard about that, I thought, okay, so it's a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's
It
a
is-
dramatic retelling.
Yeah, because apparently when they made The Godfather, for those of you who somehow don't know, it's a movie about gangsters and
Are you telling me
this
people don't know about the famous movie
the 50-year-old
What? I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah, no, I've never seen The Godfather. That's
but
right.
it is very famous.
I'm a host on a movie review podcast. I've never seen 80% of the movies we reference.
That's fine though.
Yeah,
yes.
and
apparently the actual mob got involved with the making of it
Cool.
and said, "Hey, give us good representation or we will kill you."
That's awesome.
And so
That's so wholesome.
oh yeah,
As
so
as an
wholesome.
EMB student myself,
Yeah.
that's what else can you ask for in the movie biz?
I mean, it does seem interesting to see how
It was
this will be made.
The trailer immediately starts by Paramount handing itself a medal. It's Paramount needs to get one of the biggest movies of all time.
Yeah,
And then it's also a Paramount Plus exclusive.
it is. Yeah.
You got Miles Teller. I don't know. I didn't see anybody
Dan
else.
Fogler
He's in the thumbnail.
as Francis Ford Coppola.
Cool.
Who is
Jared Leto reprising his role from House of Gucci.
Dan Fogler, who is part of one of your favorite film franchises, Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, okay. You want to know? Actually, I've been making no progress on the Harry Potter movie. I've not watched
I was gonna be surprised. I was like, oh, did you watch one?
Yeah. No.
Well, you have a few weeks now.
Yeah, no, I got time. I'll get around to it.
For 10 movies.
I'll be fine.
Okay.
Any
thoughts on the offer?
I don't. Excuse me. Oh, I'm so yawny now that we're starting. Not really.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with that. With The Godfather, but I don't know. It looks neat. I like the concept of something behind the scenes of a production, but that is the production is like it's kind of meta. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is very meta.
All right, if you want to introduce our main trailer that we're
yes,
to talk about.
This movie comes from one of the most creative film studios around right now, and that's A24.
What?
A24.
Oh, A24.
Not Illumination.
I think they're pretty good.
They're doing a Shrek reboot. I don't know if that's very creative. I'm gonna watch it, but
anyways,
A24. Jinx.
Yes, we are.
It's called Men.
Yes,
and it's from Alex Garland.
Yeah. The trailer, like, I don't even know. It's like it's intense. It's really mysterious.
I am. I didn't know anything about this movie except that Alex Garland was directing it, and I thought, okay, you have me right there. And then I saw the trailer, and it looks so interesting and so creepy. I love how this one guy is doing, like, the role of all the men in this neighborhood.
It looks weird. I think the trailer was strangely coherent for these types of films.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like a Jordan Peele kind of vibe where you watch the trailer and you still have no idea what's going on. Like that it is just like a slight taste of what to expect in the movie itself.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, it seems to be, at least, about this woman who goes into this like countryside in England after the death of her husband, and all around this town are these men who look like the same man, like, over and over again. And then she starts getting, like, stalked by this person. And then it just goes down this rabbit hole into this kind of horror-ish kind of vibe. I don't even want to call it straight-up horror because I don't even know if it's that.
It's definitely like a psychological thriller, if anything. But it looks very, very interesting. Did you catch a date for when it comes out? Did we get that?
I did not. I think it's in the summer.
Okay. Because I'm super down to create a block for that. Because assuming like that the reviews before it like probably get like,
May 20th.
Oh,
yeah.
That might be is that gonna steal the Super League of Pets or whatever spot?
Well, that got delayed, so no.
I forgot about that. Did we talk about that on air?
We didn't really. A lot of DC movies got delayed.
It's very funny.
I think we got done recording, and then I looked at my phone, and they were all delayed. I think except for Shazam, and that got moved up.
Yeah, I think it was really funny that the Super Bowl ad and DC's main tagline was this, or it's like a year of heroes.
Yeah, the year of DC.
Yes, and then two of the movies
they play it back on like the Batman. And then like 4 days later, like by the way. Yeah, that was just really unfortunate. I mean, yeah, we could review this. That'd be during our bonus summer season.
Yeah, well, we'll figure out when finals week is because I think it's pretty early in May.
Yeah, our last episode for the season is going to be on May 11th, and that is finals week. It's going to be Doctor Strange.
Okay,
I think it's a fitting finale.
Yeah, that's pretty.
We also keep saying we're going to tell people what our summer episodes are going to be at the end of the show. Yeah, and we never do. So
that's okay. I think we'll figure that out and like. Yeah. Well, we'll put it on the Instagram, which you can find us at.
That's RavNCR.
Thank you for being so prepared.
I was about to say North Code Radio.
Yeah. He's sponsored. You just say like something stupid.
Yeah.
No.
The box office.
Anyways, we'll figure that out and then we'll get that out to you.
I think some that we do have for sure. If you want to say that.
Sure.
Jurassic World, Dominion, Lightyear.
For sure.
Okay, maybe not for sure that one.
Yeah.
Lightyear, I think is
Lightyear
for sure.
Will definitely be a sure.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Is that another Taika Waititi?
Yeah.
Okay. Then probably.
And then
it's a Marvel movie. What am I talking
yeah,
about?
exactly. Come on.
It's like, we'll skip this one.
And Nope.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice little lineup.
Yeah. There's another one, but that's just kind of a maybe right now.
Super Pets.
No, it's Top Gun.
Oh, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah. Still have to watch the first one.
Same. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Anyway, Men comes out. What was that? May 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I might steal.
If we review it, go check out our possible review for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have one more thing on the docket.
Right.
I recently watched the Disney Plus remake of Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yes.
And if you have been listening to the show, you know we have an interesting history with Disney Plus revivals of franchises.
Yes. Famously good.
I'm alluding to Home Sweet Home Alone and the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild.
Yes. Wonderful.
The former of which, Home Sweet Home Alone, was our collective worst movie of 2021. And so going into this, I did not have high expectations. And you know what? It wasn't the best, but it's the best out of these three.
Fair enough.
I guess that's still not saying much, but it was all right for the most part.
Yeah.
I guess like some positives.
Do you want to, for those who aren't familiar with whatever you said, this is
Cheaper by the Dozen?
Like me.
Oh, okay.
Give it like a brief synopsis of what
So the originals.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, there was a 2003 remake with Steve Martin,
Whoa.
also directed by Sean Levy.
Is it a movie?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
I love that movie.
Is it Sean Levy?
It's Sean Levy.
Funny.
Yeah. Sean Levy centric episode today.
Yeah, no we found our tag.
But it's basically about this husband and wife who have 12 kids.
Okay.
That's basically the premise. 12 kids, a dozen, cheaper by the dozen.
A wacky life.
Yeah.
Okay.
In this one, they have 10 kids. So not exactly a dozen.
Why?
It's a blended family.
Okay.
So, which it's also one of my positives. Zach Braff is the father in this. Let me find the other actors in it. I know he was kind of like the lead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's about a blended family coming together. They have this weird like restaurant just all about breakfast, and he invented a breakfast sauce that's sweet, spicy, and savory at the same time, depending on what you eat.
Okay.
I don't know. Gabrielle Union is also in this. They play the husband and wife. They're really good together in it. And they have 10 kids. Some of them are adopted. One of them is like their nephew.
Okay.
It's so weird because at the beginning of the movie, there's narration, and it's like, oh, here's our happy family. The first two I got with my first wife, and then my best friend died. He was killed in a car crash from a drunk driver, and we had to adopt his kid. And here are my wife's kids. And they just breeze past that.
Yeah.
And it got so dark so quick, and then immediately sunshine and rainbows.
That's rough.
I thought this movie, for the most part, maybe not for the most part, was all right. It wasn't great by any means. I think my biggest problem with it was it didn't feel focused. Because, like, for example, they have a whole subplot of the wife whose name is Zoe. Her husband, like, comes into town. He's like, "Oh, I'm moving into town," and
is that not the dad? Or is
that the wife's ex-husband? Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I
was like, "What's going on?" That is a weird. No wonder they have 10 kids.
Yes. So Zoe's ex-husband Dom comes back into town, and he's like, "Hey, I'm moving back because I want to spend time with my kids and stuff."
Say Dom.
He was all about family.
Vin Diesel? Are you telling me they put a character named Dom in a movie about a significantly large family. Anyways, I rest my case. Yeah, I mean, you got anything else you want to talk about?
So he comes in, and then immediately the husband now, who's Zach Braff, his name is Paul. Yes, not Vin Diesel.
Paul?
He immediately.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
He immediately becomes so intimidated by him. He's like, "No, I'm the better dad," and I was like, "Oh, please don't let it be this movie. Like, just like be nice to each other. You're both gonna be raising these kids anyway." But here's the thing.
Okay.
Paul's ex-wife not only is always in the picture, she babysits their kids for them.
What the heck?
So he has no room to complain about Dom coming in, just wanting to be around his kids.
That sounds like the right amount of like artificial like damage to a relationship that you need for that kind of cartoon.
So I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be this movie. But then Dom disappears. There's like one scene. It was actually funny because they're cheering on their daughter at like a basketball game, and Dom was like, that's my daughter, I'm his dad, and Paul is like, no, I'm her dad, and then Dom is like, no, I'm the biological dad, and then Paul said, I claim her on my taxes, so.
Cool.
I don't know. That made me laugh.
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, but then they just completely dropped that subplot until the very end, and there's so many weird subplots that keep coming in and out, and so it made the film feel very uncentered.
Yeah.
I will say a very good thing about it that I really liked is the fact that it's like a blended family, so it feels very like progressive in that way, and that like they all just get along. They tackle a lot of issues about like culture and race, which I didn't think a Disney movie would. Honestly, and I thought it was like really cool to just see that on screen.
Cool.
I'd probably give it a 5. Honestly,
fair enough.
It's not the best, but it's not horrible.
Was it? Excuse me. Oh, I'm so yawny today.
You're fine.
Oh, was it a movie? Or
it was.
A show?
Yeah.
Okay. It was like just a movie. I thought it was another Disney Plus series that they.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, the original was a movie too with like Steve Martin.
Yeah, that was
cheaper by the dozen.
Thank you.
It's on Disney Plus if you want to go watch it.
Yes. Before we get into the main thing, I have one more thing.
Okay.
I'll just touch on because I don't think I've updated everybody since the last time I talked about Euphoria.
Okay.
I finished it. Season 2 is done. Now, you may call me a fake fan because I've not watched every single hour-long special between each of the episodes that delves...
I mean, there's only 2.
There's like a bunch.
Oh, there are? Oh.
I'm pretty sure there's one for each character. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a special in-depth look to each character, to a different plot or something between each episode. Maybe that's wrong. I know they made...
Between each episode?
Or, like, I think that's where they put them.
I thought it was between seasons.
It could be also that. Because I know they made a bunch of them for that purpose. Because over COVID, they, like, weren't able to...
They couldn't film, so they just did, like, single episode things.
I've not watched those. Sue me. However, I have watched the end of Season 2. And
Is it better?
No.
No.
Well, you know what? Yes. Yes, I will say. Yes, it is better. But for me, that's a pretty low bar. No offense to Euphoria, except like a little bit.
Okay.
The acting from episode 4 to the end, and well, you know, that's not even true. Any scene with Rue in the last season, and any scene with Fez, and that whole plot, that's pretty good. Like, I liked the writing, and I liked, you know what? That's not even true. I liked the writing before the very end. This is a show that I think wouldn't give in to like scrapping a script last second and then shoving something in to like do a fix for something outside of the show. But they did that, and it's so terrible.
Oh,
they take and this is hard for me. One of the characters that I like, even mildly like / respect, and they absolutely just like take that character through the gutter for no reason. And they don't explain why, but that character is just like completely written out in such a terrible way. It's recent still, so I'm not going to say anything. But if you watch the show, you might have an idea of what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm too inspecific still. But I thought like everything surrounding that moment was good. It was shot well. It was like acted very well. but it didn't make sense for the story, and I know that I have no idea what's going on. And so, probably for somebody who watched the show and the specials and deeply cares about this, like, franchise, they were probably like, that I can see why that would happen. I cannot. And I really can't, like, despise more, like, when TV shows or movies have to purposefully take a different route than what they wanted to do because of something happening to an actor or something in the real world, which is what happened. And it's just lame. Otherwise, like, again, Rue's acting in, like, that whole sequence that, hey, those who watched it, you know what I'm talking about, was really, really impressive. It was really good. It was shot well. I appreciated that they didn't cut back to a subplot. They just, like, they gave her, like, the whole episode, and that's how it should have been.
Okay.
Like, I think one of my problems with a lot of the other episodes is that they sat there and, like, big emotional moment, cut. Let's go see what's happening with Nate Jacobs, or let's find him sitting in the corner of a room with a gun again. I guess spoiler, it's not. He does that, like, a lot. It's like a problem, actually. Believe it or not, the characters in Euphoria are deeply flawed, and I feel like nobody's really talked about that. Yeah.
See, I didn't see that at all when I watched the first episode.
Yeah, no, they were they were all pretty okay. I like this is all satirical, if that's not clear enough.
Yeah, we are being sarcastic.
This show is not for me still.
Yeah. Maybe season 3.
I will still watch season 3 when it comes out in, like, 2024 or whatever. That's shocking to me as well. Is that, like, it got greenlit, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's going to take so long to produce.
Oh wait, yeah. 2024.
It's either 2023 or 4. I think it's 4 because I remember it being 2 years from now. But that could have been 2021. No, it wouldn't have been. I don't know. Anyways, I'll watch it still because my girlfriend's going to force me to, and that's okay. Because I enjoy watching things and taking part in her interests.
Nice.
That's Euphoria.
Yeah. I forgot. There's one more thing.
Okay.
As you know, we are so excited for the motion picture event of the year. That is Morbius, the living vampire, coming out on
have to talk about that.
Proper date of
Is there
April Fool's Day. And I have seen.
Wait, it's Wednesday.
We're gonna talk about some things that, you know what, it might not be true, but it could be fun talking about it.
What are we talking about?
So I've seen some reports.
Okay. I have not heard about this.
I think they might have been confirmed, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
That in the trailer, you see so many connections to the other Spider-Man universes. Right. And we talked about that on the podcast. That's
everybody's
what we're most
crazy.
excited about.
Yeah.
Apparently, they cut that all out. And the trailer is nothing like what the actual movie is. And, and you know how Michael Keaton is in the movie?
No way.
He has been, apparently, speculation. He has been apparently delegated to just a post-credit scene of, like, the Nick Fury character being like, hey, you want to join my team? And that's it. Now, this might be false.
Wow.
But I've seen a lot of reports saying that.
I would not be surprised in the slight. Well, I know I would be. Because Sony's, like, little pitiful, desperate attempts to join the MCU has been really, like, that's rough.
Yeah.
Oh, right after the Venom thing as well. Like, where it's just, like, all, like, the whole movie set up so he can be put in the MCU, and then it's like, zoop.
Never mind.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That movie, why watch that movie at all?
Well, we're going to review it, so hey, go watch that movie and then see our review.
Maybe that is the April Fools, is the reports. Those are the jokes that are coming out. It's like, they're just kidding around.
I hope that's an April Fool's joke. Because that was the most exciting thing going into the movie.
Because you had Spider-Man PS4 with the Raimi suit, with Murderer. You had the Oscorp from Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. You had, just Venom as Venom. Or, I'm sorry, I'm Dr. Michael Morbius.
Apparently they cut that out, too. Like, any references to any other universe.
It's so awkward, bro.
I know.
Because I remember, the theory with the trailer was that after the events of No Way Home, that's when everything was gonna get like the spell wouldn't be resolved, and like a bunch of the elements would be pushed into one like Sonyverse. That's not true. Maybe apparently now. So I don't know. Tune in. Well, the review will be a little bit
2
after
weeks
that.
from
It'll be
today.
April 6th.
Yes.
Yeah. What are we doing next week?
We are going to do The Lost City.
Ooh.
And maybe some Oscars talk. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
It's on this
I've heard
Sunday.
about them. Yeah.
So yeah, that was just some
Okay.
little rumors I heard about. I thought it could be fun talking
Yeah.
about. Anyway,
Okay.
going into our main topic.
Yes.
The Adam Project.
Yeah, because who hasn't had enough Ryan Reynolds? Just put your hands down. That is... It is another project from him. Is it his studio? I forgot what it's called.
Maximum Effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's any movie he works on now.
It's got to be. I know, because he's with the Deadpool 3. That's going to be the first MCU project to be co-produced by a different studio because he's going to have a big part in it
And the first
with
to be
Marvel.
R-rated.
True. We'll see how that stands.
So the Adam Project, as we
Yes.
said, is directed by Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Starring
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds. Written by Jonathan Tropper,
Okay.
T.S. Nolan, and Jennifer Flackett.
Cool.
It also stars Walker Scobell as a young Adam, Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner as his parents,
Yes.
and Zoe Saldana as... The trailers didn't really say who she is, so I guess we don't have to fully say.
I guess not. Yeah.
And Catherine Keener as kind of the bad guy.
We can also probably do spoilers pretty soon, just because it's been out for probably about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, it's
now.
been out for a while. It came out when Turning Red came out.
Yeah, we'll still be pretty conservative with anything. We'll make sure it's known before we do spoilers.
Yeah. This is about Adam, who in the year 2050, time travel exists.
Yes.
And he is going back in time to meet his younger self, and he's on a mission. In the trailers, they tell you it's to stop time travel.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch the movie, you learn it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you piqued my interest. Yeah, it's a really just fun children's I wouldn't even say it's specifically targeted towards children, but the main comparison I'm gonna make whenever I'm talking about it is that it felt with the trailer made it seem like it was a children's book adapted into a movie.
It felt like a classic 80s movie,
but it was really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I was really worried about what you were gonna say.
Yeah. What do you think I was gonna say?
Well, you didn't like Free Guy.
I didn't.
So.
I thought this was okay. It was not super good, not super bad. A really decent little adventure movie, especially with time travel. I still haven't wrapped my head around how the rules of this time travel universe work.
I looked it up.
Ooh.
And because they make it very convoluted in the movie, but then I looked it up, and it's Back to the Future kind of rules, except
explain that. I'm down to talk for 15 minutes about time travel.
So in Back to the Future,
right?
If you go back in time and you change something in the past, then that ripple effects changes the future,
right?
And it's not like a multiverse like they say in the movie, is it this, is it that? It's just one singular timeline, and then the only real difference is once you go back, your memories of going back in time and all that change because now they're non-existent.
Okay. Because they address this very early. Because the kid is pretty smart. The kid Adam catches on. Well, I wouldn't say he's pretty smart, but he's smart enough to be if I'm here with you, that means you have memories of being here with an older you. And then that kind of that sort of begins the conversation on how the rules work. But that's where it also got extremely confusing right
it did.
off the bat.
I kind of chose not to worry about it.
I super duper did. Because with a... I feel like that's where it loses some points for me is that if you don't make time if you're gonna put time travel in your movie, first of all, bold. second of all, if you're a Marvel and you're putting time travel in, super duper bold, because look at that, Tony Stark made a donut inverted, and now you can do time travel. And then I will say though, the lengths that Endgame goes to explain their time travel,
this does
helps.
not.
I would say I understood it completely.
No, I mean like the Atom Project.
Oh,
like
yeah,
in comparison,
right?
It doesn't. Whereas, like you said, Endgame,
you get the whole thing with the Ancient One,
explain it.
where they explain the second timeline that is now ruined. But when you go back, it gets rid of that timeline and fixes it.
Yeah,
it like fixes the variance and the yada yada yada. We're not talking about Marvel. We're talking about Ryan Reynolds.
Yes,
somehow digging his way into the Marvel universe even deeper.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I had a really good time watching it. Like I said before, it really reminds me of those like classic kind of 80s movies like E.T., Flight of the Navigator, if you've ever seen that. Even a little bit of, it's not even an 80s movie, but Sean Levy's other movie, Real Steel, which is kind of futuristic with a guy being kind of an unwitting role model, I guess, to a younger kid.
Is that Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
Okay. I was seeing if I remembered correctly. Because, you know what? I'm not going to explain. Let's go on.
But yeah, so it reminded me of a lot of older things, but I don't think that's a bad thing because I think it just took inspiration from it, but it still became in its own kind of movie. It's original, it's creative.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And Walker Scobell, who plays a young Adam, nails it.
He does a really good
role
job
as a young Ryan Reynolds.
It's like doing a movie with this specific plot. You got to find someone who can who can be Ryan Reynolds, but like a young little brat version.
Yeah,
and he does a really good job of it.
Yeah. One of my facts is they auditioned over 300 kids for it.
That sounds like something Ryan Reynolds would do. I wouldn't doubt if he was there
the casting director doing it. And at first, Walker Scobell was not part of the audition process until the pandemic pushed the movie back. So they kept looking, and he sent an audition tape, and they said, "Okay, that he's Ryan Reynolds. Cool. Let's get him." And they were looking not for looks, like, who looks most like Ryan Reynolds,
right?
But who acts most like Ryan Reynolds. And I think that paid off because I forget where I saw the quote, but I saw a quote saying like, even if they don't look like Ryan Reynolds, if they start acting like him, you'll start seeing the similarities.
Yeah, for real.
And there were moments where like I think he does like just a little wink or a smirk at someone, and I was like, that's Ryan Reynolds. That's something he would do. Yeah.
I thought the casting just like across the board was pretty good.
Yeah.
We have Zoe Saldana.
She has like 5 minutes of screen time.
She got Zendaya. She got Dune Zendaya.
Yeah. That's just gonna be a term for this podcast.
It really is.
I really liked her character, but she was just in it for such a little amount of time. I wish we got more of her.
I agree. I completely agree. Then what is the who plays the partner?
Mom?
No, not the mom. The business partner.
Oh, that's Catherine Keener.
Okay, yeah. She
was fine.
She wasn't like.
I think she was the weak link of the movie, which feels.
Like,
I know.
I agree, but that was such a on the nose, brutal way to put it, and I absolutely agree.
And that makes me feel so bad because Catherine Keener is such a good actor.
Yeah.
But in this,
especially if she's listening right now, come on the show.
Yeah, please come on the show. Talk about your acting process.
We can't pay for transportation or wherever you stay
or anything,
really. But if you show up, we'll let you on.
We'll I don't know. We'll bake some cookies or something.
I won't
get free cookies.
I'm kidding. I will, please. But yeah, she was okay.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Reynolds, regular subpar performance.
No,
I'm kidding.
I will say though, you always hear about it's just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds again. This is getting old, and I don't know if I ever really felt it. Maybe with the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, where I was like, okay, but in this, at certain moments, I felt it okay, you don't have to tell a joke every 5 seconds,
right?
Especially in the beginning when you meet his character, through the eyes of young Adam, and who are you? I Oh, I forgot to mention, it also reminds me of Zathura, because in that movie, a young person meets his future self and like gives him advice. And I was hoping Ryan Reynolds would kind of act it like that, like not fully giving it away, but also just not like making all these weird jokes.
Right.
But he does. It's Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Eventually, like, it didn't bother me anymore. But I did feel that kind of Ryan Reynolds fatigue.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. Especially, like, I don't think Ryan Reynolds is ever off the screen for, like, more than 3 minutes. He is, like...
I mean, I think there's some long
besides,
sequences.
like, the beginning, and, like, the kid and... Well, I guess that's the point. Anyways. Still, with the Ryan Reynolds fatigue, it's definitely there, but it's...
Yeah.
The fatigue is still good for a little bit, at least.
Oh, yeah, I will say it does go away, like, very quickly. Because eventually, like, he really brings it in this movie.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't want to say a lot, but when, like, he talks to his mom.
Oh, yeah.
That
scene was, on that was giving me Back to the Future vibes.
I know. That
if you, like...
Ryan Reynolds wrote that scene. Yeah.
And, like, it was nice, but... Like, it's you can't straddle that line with any form of time travel, because then you get like no matter how much writing goes into it, the mom who's in the present time and the time traveler, the mom's never gonna know that the time traveler is her son.
Yeah.
And it's like you just can't prevent that.
I don't know. I really like that scene.
Yeah.
And like in scenes with Ryan Reynolds talking to young Adam. And just kind of saying, I don't like who you are right now. Like, I don't like me, who I was when I was 12. And just him, like, going through that.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I thought he gave a really good performance.
I think it was a really cool, like, dynamic that we, like, I've not really personally seen explored. Like, obviously the main, like, time travel things you think of is, like, Back to the Future. But they make a very fine point to never interact with yourself in that, like, that time, and you'd never really super duper get that, like, discussion or that kind of like your own regret, and it's like the feeling of whenever it's like 3 a.m. and you wake up and you're like, oh dang, and you just remember. You don't get to explore that with many other movies, but this one I feel like it does a really good job. It's like, yeah, you'll know, or you'll realize, like, what you're doing is wrong.
There's even a scene where, like, Ryan Reynolds is, I guess I should say Adam, but it's Ryan Reynolds. Come on.
Yeah.
Where Adam is trying to teach young Adam a lesson that he had to learn the hard way, and it just goes so wrong. It was the fight scene with the bullies.
Oh yeah,
being like,
I remember that.
Here's what's gonna happen, and then it just goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like Adam is thinking he's doing the right thing, but in reality, no, he's not.
Right. And I like that as well, where since the rules of the time travel is that he's not experienced this, and this is all, like, first time happening, because it's, like, this is a different discussion, so I'll get back to what I'm about to say. But, since they don't play with that, like, oh, he's already been through all this before, then you're allowed to create those new, like, organic experiences, which I thought were pretty good. I do want to talk about more time travel rules with death, which I felt was just a cheap way to not make people blow up without blood.
It was just a cool effect they had. Yeah. Honestly, for a lot of it, it did bother me, but at some point I was just like, it's gonna bother me, so I'm just gonna try to not let it bother me and enjoy the ride. I'm just gonna accept what they tell me, and that did help.
One of my problems with the death concept is that, like, I can't say it. How about we do our Rotten Tomatoes and we'll get back to that, and we can do spoilers, because we're at 450. We're like pretty.
Well, we
close
did start like 10 minutes late.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So we can keep talking a little bit.
Yeah. Do you got anything? You got any facts?
I do have some fun facts. Most of the cast did their own stunts.
Cool.
We also we didn't talk about Mark Ruffalo.
Darn.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was so funny, like seeing throughout the entire movie, like they're idolizing him so much.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds doesn't idolize him as much.
Yes.
But then you get to him, and it's like, okay, here's this like amazing man, and then he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah. I really like the jump punch.
I know, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, should we call child services if he's like that willing to punch his kid?
Yeah. I mean, if it was your older kid, then
no.
No. If it was Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds would punch. I'm surprised. Anyways, that's a weird conversation.
Yeah, let's just
let's move away from. It was
so most
it was
of the cast
sarcastic
did their own
and that was
stunts.
not true.
I already said over 300 kids auditioned.
Yes.
This is Walker Scobell's first acting job.
Cool.
The first one he's ever had.
Good for
which
him.
I think is amazing because he does a fantastic job in this. Ryan Reynolds has said this is his most personal film, which I can see.
Yeah, that's fair.
He said he also has like a dad who has died, and so obviously with this movie, I guess we didn't really mention a big part of this movie is them going to meet their dad who is dead.
Yes.
And is the godfather of time travel. Do you have something to say?
I don't.
You know?
The way you said that was really funny. And you're like Ryan Reynolds has also announced that he has or it's like this movie's he has a dad that is dead. And it's like, dang. Your laughs there came up as like really specific sound waves that look
nice.
Cool. Anyways,
this is the second time Ryan Reynolds has played a pilot.
This is fun.
Yeah.
What's oh god, a pilot?
You know it.
I'm sure I do. Is it no. It's not Free Guy. No. He doesn't fly.
He plays a video game character.
Well, yeah, but maybe I was thinking if he like flew a helicopter at some point. He doesn't fly. Does he fly anything in Deadpool?
No.
Deadpool 2?
No.
I knew that. What other? Why am Green Lantern?
Yes.
Is it actually?
It's Green Lantern.
That's
yeah.
hilarious. Oh yeah. I forgot that
he's
was
an
like
Air
a
Force
thing.
pilot.
Right.
Dang,
we don't.
It's also the second time Mark Ruffalo is in a movie where his character messes with time travel. What's the first?
I can't remember.
13 going on 30, which is is also a reunion
for sure
of sorts of 13 going on 30 because in that one, Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner are romantic love interests in that movie, and this one they're married.
That's cool. It's like
for a little bit until he dies.
Bro, too
Spoiler.
soon.
Catherine Keener plays two roles in this movie.
I feel like I missed something there. I feel like was 13 going on 30 the movie?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Messed with time travel?
No, but
that was Endgame, right?
Yeah, it was Endgame.
Okay, I was like, I knew that felt like an incomplete conversation. Okay, we can move
on. Catherine Keener plays a dual role in this movie.
She does.
Where she plays her 2050 day self.
Yes. And
her 2018 self.
Yes.
In which I thought it was de-aged. Mm-hmm. It's actually deep faked.
Yeah.
So if people who like don't know that, it's a picture of like her face just plastered onto someone else.
Yes, with a lot of really, really scary but advanced technology. It's very interesting.
In this movie, though, it looks so weird and bad.
Like I didn't have a problem with it. I was just kind of like, cool time travel movie, and I just kind of watched it.
Cool time travel.
I didn't have a huge problem with it. It was like I would say it's like less. If anybody's seen Mandalorian, season 2, have you?
Yeah.
Okay, then that came out forever ago. You know by now. Luke Skywalker makes an appearance as like his young Mark Hamill form, but I believe Mark Hamill still does a voice or something. Mark Hamill had some part in it, but it was deepfake technology that put him in the scene there, and it got a lot of backlash.
And they fixed it real quick in Boba Fett.
Yeah. Still definitely a lot of work to go because he wasn't able to make any movements in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It was always like slow walking or sitting in place. But it's like scary to see how quick that technology's coming along.
This did not feel like an advancement. Felt like a step back.
I probably blinked for that entire scene.
Maybe, yeah.
I never really had a problem with it.
Especially the edges, it looked off.
I will say it didn't look visually weird to me, like the effect itself. But during a lot of the scenes, especially any of them where they're like both in the same place, you can kind of tell the body movements are different, and it's always very rigid.
Yeah,
because you can tell like that they were told not to move around a lot because that makes the technology harder to track.
Yeah,
and that definitely shows. There's a lot of scene like where I'm doing a shape in person, so our listeners aren't spoiled. And then that whole thing.
I like that scene, by the way.
I thought it was really.
It felt goofy at first, but then I was like, you know what?
Sure.
I can see that. Why not?
At the point that you start caring about how magnets work in your time travel movie, I think you've kind of missed the point.
Like one of your favorite movies, Fast and Furious 9.
Yes, famously the ninth
magnet
one.
Scene. They strapped a magnet to a car and then drove it through a city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
They actually, the car they used in that scene, they reused right on the set next to them. They were filming Breaking Bad, where they were trying to like erase evidence and stuff. And,
did they film F9 10 years ago?
Yeah. Well, it was right. I'm not okay. I'm gonna turn off the mics. You're not supposed to know this, but the Fast and Furious, like people who make that, franchise, they already have the next 20 made. They make these like decades in advance.
So they already made the one for the Transformers? The mics are off. We're fine.
I know, but there could be a bug in this room.
No.
Yes.
But
you're not supposed to know that. So
I can't wait for them to see our cameos in Fast and Furious 15.
Don't say anything yet. I'm gonna turn the mics on. It's kind of weird that we've had a silence for this long.
That is weird, yeah.
Okay, we'll edit that out. Okay.
Anyway.
Sorry about that. Another like weird technical
weird glitch.
difficulty. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a weird visual.
Yes.
The other visuals weren't that bad in the movie. By the way, I thought it was some good visuals.
I like
good action.
The lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's not a lightsaber.
It's a lightsaber.
I really like the action in this too.
Me too.
Funnily enough, like I forgot there was an action movie, and I was fine with it. Like with the beginning sections, I think the first act was my favorite.
Fair enough.
Then they got.
I agree.
Like, I don't want to say progressively worse because that sounds like it took like a big nosedive. But I think my favorite act is Act 1, then Act 2, and then it kind of falls apart in Act 3.
I would argue that the first act is the best. Third, the ending is pretty good, and then like all the middle gibberish explaining is weird.
Well, definitely the ending I really love, like the ending. But I feel like once they are in 2018, it feels a little rushed.
I agree,
and that was just my big problem with it. But yeah, I do really like Act 3 still.
Yeah.
And that ending, I love that ending. Anyway.
Yeah.
Last fun fact.
Yes.
Tom Cruise was attached to this movie in 2012.
2012? What?
Yeah.
Like how long this has been in production?
This has been in the works for a long time.
Dang, we got a King's Daughter effect?
Well, it got made during the pandemic, and Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds only found out about it when they were doing post-production on Free Guy. And this producer was like, no, this is an amazing script. Please make it.
Cool.
And they're like, okay, yeah, this is really good. Let's make it.
Word.
Yeah.
How is Tom Cruise connected to it? Wait, what did you say?
In 2012, I think they were going to do it, but then it just fell through. He was going to, I'm guessing he's going to be Adam.
Yeah, okay. I could definitely see that. I'll also say a lot of the scenes with Ryan Reynolds look like John Krasinski. His side profile looked very Quiet Place.
I mean, they're both funny guys who got strong and have a beard now.
You're right.
Yeah.
I guess they're almost indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Except one does the funny face on the funny TV show, and the other one is
Does
in
the
everything.
funny face on the funny movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do Rotten Tomatoes, and then we can do some spoilers.
Well, what's your score?
My score?
Yeah.
7. D2 out of 100.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 7, 7.5.
Yeah, it was okay. Worth a watch.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not super great.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Now,
but I would watch it again. I think it's one of those who's like, it's not the best, but it's something I will put on just to watch it because it's like one of those feel good movies.
Excuse me. I wouldn't watch it myself alone. If like somebody's not seen it before and they had interest in it, I'd be like, sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Or like just something in the background too.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes. Let's do this. I'm sure I can nail this. Audience score 0. I'm kidding.
No one liked this movie.
Let's start with critic. Critic score.
Do you want to guess the consensus?
I will. Yes, I will. I'm gonna guess it word for word. You have no idea. Critic consensus. I mean, the number, the review. I mean the score.
Yeah.
79%.
Okay.
Audience score. Say 88%.
Okay, so you said 79 and 88.
And then for the critic consensus, they're gonna say, like another Ryan Reynolds movie with an interesting take on time travel, but falls short in their expository writing and with cool visuals and action. Something like that.
I mean, close.
I'll take it.
You've seen Ryan Reynolds do this sort of thing before.
Okay.
But The Adam Project offers slickly entertaining, which I would take for like cool visuals and stuff, and occasionally moving sci-fi action, which I would say
like, time travel.
Yeah.
That's basically what
and like even
there.
the occasionally moving.
Yeah,
I felt moved a few times in this movie. So for the critic score, you said 79.
I did. That is what I said.
The score is 68, which is 11 points lower.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. The audience score.
That's rough, though.
Yeah. What did you say, 88?
I said 88 for the audience.
88?
That's kind of scary now.
77.
Yeah, I should have.
You were 11 off for both of them.
That's rough. Okay.
That's
you know
not
what?
bad.
That is, I was not precise, but I was accurate. Or maybe flip that.
I don't think you were accurate.
Well, no, like like a target, you can be like imagine like a target, like an archery target.
Yeah.
You can be like I think I'm mixing these up, but like precise. No. Accurate.
Okay.
Is getting them all in the middle. Precise or getting is aiming towards the middle. Precise is grouping. Is consistency. I don't care. Let's continue with this podcast.
To go into some spoilers, I guess.
Can I spoilers? Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want to talk about death.
Okay.
Zoe Saldana plays the love interest of Adam.
Yeah. That made me so mad when she died.
Who cares?
Like, who cares that she died, or who cares what I think?
Who cares?
Or both.
Kind of both. They do like a really like an emphasized effort to demonstrate that death outside of your fixed timeline is weird. They don't even say what it means. You just kind of blow up into particles.
Yeah.
So my assumption is that when you die, you just go back to your fixed timeline at whatever point you left. Maybe.
I think you just cease to exist.
I think that's lame, and I think they should explain their time travel rules if they're gonna.
They wanted to have a fun movie and did not care.
Yeah,
about
I think they didn't want to blow up soldiers into blood and gore, and I think they wanted a cool little spark effect for whenever
Plus, if they explained it all, we would have a 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
and we complain a lot about
that's
long
all.
movies.
That's all we do on these episodes.
Yeah, and this was a cool hour 46.
It was.
You know
good.
what? I'm not going to complain.
Well, listen, I like this movie. I think I one of my with any sci-fi, superhero, fantasy, I don't care. You name it. I want rules. I want definable systems in place on which how things work and how they operate.
I think rules are very important. The big thing for me is if you break those rules or you're inconsistent. I mean, it didn't feel fully inconsistent for me, which is why I'm like, okay, whatever. And I don't know, I've seen so many time travel movies, and they're all so confusing when they try to explain it. It makes it worse.
Unless you get them, and then they're good. Like Endgame, a revolutionary movie in cinema that you've never heard of before. Avengers Endgame, for those. Anyways, I don't know what this character is today. The ending was kind of sweet. I
really liked it.
It's always hard to do a movie where the characters forget the adventure at the end, because it's just kind of like lame. They wrote it off as echoes, where it's like, we'll find each other again.
I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
So in 2018, the only thing that's changed is their memories, correct?
What do you mean?
So like for the dad, he does not remember the two Adams being there.
I would say he does.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the memory is only changed for those outside of the fixed timeline.
Oh wait,
and by altering 2018, they've that is now the fixed timeline since that's the farthest back that creates the future.
Okay, so we're in agreement that nothing has really changed for 2018.
Nothing had to, or nothing could have changed because Adam still grows up and does the same exact thing. He still meets at like an Air Force.
I mean like nothing changes after the Adams leave.
No.
Yeah.
It couldn't have.
So, in that timeline, a huge facility has basically blown up.
Yes.
The CEO is dead. And at the crime scene is the crashed car of the business partner of the CEO.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That was weird.
I was just thinking about that earlier today. And are there any repercussions of that? Like, do they go to the crime scene like, okay, hold on, there's this car belongs to this guy.
Canonically, no. There's no repercussions whatsoever.
Like, does he go to jail? Like, is he on the way to jail?
Matter.
And that's how
dies.
I mean, is he in the cop car and that's how he dies? They just don't want to say he was getting arrested for killing someone.
That'd be a twist ending. But no, he still kicks the bucket. Adam still grows up. Adam probably still gets bullied like a little twerp. Yeah. He has his time travel echo to hug his mom. And then like 2050 now, time travel doesn't exist anymore, but we still get we get Adam with Laura.
Well, Adam also says they met through the airspace program.
Yeah.
Because of the time travel things.
Right.
So
I can only imagine it's like an Air Force.
I guess, but like I don't know. I guess maybe my thing would be Harvard, like, wouldn't it be like at a different school then or something, or a different class even?
Well, I don't know, and I don't really care.
Yeah, fair enough. It was a cool ending. I liked it.
Mostly because they don't show the first scene. If they did, then I would have had problems. But they get by not defining what 2050 looks like.
And he did just say, "Yeah, this is a pilot class."
Yeah, I thought the guy was,
which means he also had a horrible high school experience and college experience.
Yeah, that's okay. He'll invent time travel, and we'll get a sequel.
The Adam Project 2. It's like it's gonna be like in like
another
40
Adam.
years.
It's like an 80-year-old Adam comes back.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. He gets Nikes that like close around his leg by just pressing the button.
Do you see the ad with Christopher Lloyd?
The ad?
Yeah, they did for like daylight savings. They did like a Adam Project promo, and then they brought in Christopher Lloyd to just do a little monologue.
I did not. That sounds fun, though.
That was interesting.
Yeah. You got any other spoiler stuff you want to talk about? You got to get it out now. We're running out of time.
The magnet bullet. There's a magnet bullet.
Magnet bullet. Yeah, no. Yeah, what about the magnet bullet?
I don't know. It's worth bringing up. That's what we were talking about earlier.
That's where 80% of the budget of this film went. They were like, de-aging. No, deepfake. Now this bullet.
No, this
is this is the main thing.
I know, because there's even one shot of them flying when he turns off the plane and they start dropping down. I was like, that looks bad. Yes, Austin.
I was raising my hand. That made me think of something that did annoy me in the Metal Bullet scene. Was Mark Ruffalo's cocky little self being like, well, it's like what's it? Or it's like Ryan Reynolds or Big Adam tells tells his dad what like the bullet is. He's like, you're not. Why are you standing in front of us? Those are like armor piercing rounds. They're gonna go straight through you.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, thank you. That's useful information, Adam. Thank you. And then the bad lady shoots the bullet, and it made of magnets. The young bad lady. And it turns and it goes into the big magnet and it passes through the bad lady, tiny lady. You'll understand it when you watch this.
Hopefully you have, since we're spoiling it.
I hope so too. Maybe you haven't. That's okay. Maybe this is funnier that way.
I thought the bad lady, since that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought she killed the dad. I thought
Me
she
too.
ordered
I
a hit.
I thought it was gonna be something like that.
Yeah, because it makes so much sense to be like, okay, no, you gotta take him out so
Yeah.
you can have all the power. No, he just dies.
Yep.
Like, so what if he didn't die? Would all this not happen?
I don't want to think about that.
So they didn't have to prevent time travel from happening. They just had to prevent his death.
Yeah. Oh well,
It's fine.
they didn't do that. Also, just like the whole point of him going back in the first place to save Laura, and then like that becoming stopping time travel was like,
yeah,
that all happened very quickly.
Yeah, when I thought it was okay, he's just going back to stop time travel. Okay, whatever, it's a basic premise. But then he's like, no, I'm going back because my wife is here, I think, and I'm going to save her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is something new. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finds her, and she's like, by the way, you have to stop time travel. And he's like, what? Yeah,
right.
you have to. Oh, okay, bye.
No, and that brings me back to my initial point. Laura should have just died. And then she'll just, like, she'll go back to her original timeline, in theory. Because, like, okay, if you want to call it a special little effect, or, like, the dust particles they're exploding into is them ceasing to exist, that's lame. Because, okay, what happened to them in the fixed timeline then? If it's not, okay, if it was as easy as them just dying, why wouldn't they say that? Why would they, quote, say that, or like dying outside of your fixed timeline is weird? Why would they say that?
Wasn't the effect weird?
No. It was kind of weird, but I don't think that's
exactly.
What
it was weird.
I don't think that's what he's referring to, and I think they should have explained that. Because why wouldn't they said dying outside of your fixed timeline means you die for good? He just wanted
to have a cool effect.
I don't care.
Come on,
explain the effect. Because you know what? You know why they couldn't say that?
Yeah.
Because if they said, excuse me, if you die outside of your fixed timeline, you die in every timeline. That would make sense. That wouldn't make sense at all. But they don't sit there and explain it because they're cowards. They dabble around.
Please come on our show.
Please, that'd be awesome. That's like right up your alley. Just come to a niche like 5-listener podcast.
Yeah, it is.
And absolutely blow it up. Do it, please.
I will. Yeah. Why not?
Bro, you're awesome. Once at work, I was asked. I'm not gonna say this on the internet. Never mind.
Okay, tell me off the air.
Okay, I will. But you're pretty cool, and it'd be awesome to have you here at our little school, little promotional event for whatever you're working on next. And
yeah,
it'd be an honor for real.
Please.
At me, DM me. Anyways, DM Anthony, DM us
at That's a Rap NCR.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was saying.
Yes.
If this,
no, wait.
No, if they talked about death, if they explained that death was weird, then why wouldn't they say, like, if you die in your fixed timeline, you go, like, outside of your fixed timeline, you go back to your fixed timeline?
Because I don't think they went back. I think they just died.
Then why didn't they say that? What happens to them?
They cease to exist.
Okay, do they still exist in their original timeline?
I think they do, but because they shouldn't even be there.
Okay, what happens if they change the past? Let's end the episode.
Okay.
Here.
Well, matter cannot be created or destroyed. So them dying.
Shut up, bro. Time travel exists.
That means they have to stay.
Time travel exists.
That can't
and
be.
What are they exploding
that can't
into?
happen.
Matter?
What?
What are they exploding into?
Nothing.
You can't explode into. How? actually dare you bring up the law of conservation of mass and then say that they exploded.
You know what they turn into?
Shut up.
A cool special effect.
End the show, Anthony. End it.
Next week, you can catch our review of The Lost City. It stars Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt, Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't know.
It could be good. Who knows? I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea.
it's a high budget movie. That's all I can.
Is it high budget? It looks like mid budget.
Well, it's not high, but it's not low.
Yeah.
I guess. So I guess mid is pretty apt.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to.
Yeah, you can follow us at That's a Wrap NCR.
Yes.
Especially you, Ryan.
Yes,
we know you're listening.
Please, bro. You don't even have to say anything. Like our post, and I'll I'll drop
just like
dead.
it. Oh, I thought you meant like he can come in here
I'll
and just
peek.
not say a word.
That'd be even funnier.
That'd be so funny.
We'd have to bust out the video camera. We'll we'll do one public. We'll make a YouTube
and it'll
channel.
just be the rant you just did. And
I would love that. I would love to sit here. There's a chair right there for you, Ryan. I'm pointing at an empty chair.
Yes.
For our listeners.
There's two empty chairs.
Bring
a plus
cool
one.
Hat. We have a cool hat. If you're not Ryan Reynolds, share this with him.
If you're not Ryan Reynolds too, and come in, why not?
Yeah, if you want to. You can't take that chair though. That's for Ryan Reynolds.
That's for Ryan. We'll put like a label here, reserved for Ryan Reynolds.
Awesome. Let's
and then he'll be
the
guilted
studio.
into coming in.
He'll sign it like where he sits.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that'd be awesome.
NKU history.
That literally would be.
Yeah.
Our only thing is George Clooney went here.
Steve Zahn came by a few weeks ago.
Well, yeah.
Don't besmirch
He's
Steve Zahn.
awesome, but this movie isn't made by Steve Zahn.
He
it's made
played
by
the
Ryan
dad
Reynolds.
from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah, what else did he do?
He played Bad Ape from War for the Planet of the Apes.
You had an answer.
He was in Daddy
Impressive.
Daycare.
Okay, I get it. It is 5:17 now. We started late and we're ending
pretty
late.
Yeah.
Okay, let's. I'm pretty satisfied. We already plugged the Instagram.
He was in 8-Bit Christmas.
Okay.
Thank
you everybody for watching very much. Join us next week for Lost City. Is there a subtitle for that?
I think just Lost City.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty boring. I'm so sorry. I'm unleashed today.
You're being really hateful today.
I'm being correct today. Okay. Ryan Reynolds, please. That's it. Thank you for joining. Join us next week. And until then,
that's a wrap.